Syphon Filter just evokes PlayStation 1, originally releasing in 1999 and then subsequently having two sequels on the PlayStation back to back, year after year, which was kind of the thing. Of course, we didn't really think of crunch and whatnot back then, but essentially that was there. Now, I've always had Syphon Filter in my mind as being some really good agent-style James Bondish game. I have not played it since probably about 2000, 2001. So I hopped back on to play the trilogy via backup copies. Of course, there were another 3 games released, one on the PlayStation 2 and 2 on the PlayStation Portable, PSP, obviously. I did not play those 3. I probably will get to those one day. This, however, is a little video on the Syphon Filter trilogy for the PlayStation 1. Now, the first game, and obviously the subsequent 2 games as well, follows Gabriel Logan. He is basically a government agent for the United States, and the Syphon Filter is a biological weapon, so obviously he's on the hunt for that because of international terrorists. You know the drill. Same old, same old. Now, what Syphon Filter did well for the time was the animation of Gabriel running felt very free-flowing and awesome, and you could use different gadgets and weapons. You could go first-person mode and shoot people in the head. You could use your taser and fry people alive, which was always really cool. But I always found Syphon Filter difficult to navigate, and I especially felt that once again playing the backup copies. It was just very, it's not aged well, that is for sure. And then so I thought, okay, maybe that's just the first game, so when we get to the second game, so we move on to Syphon Filter 2, released in 2000, and its plot picks up immediately after Syphon Filter ended, and essentially Gabe is set out to cure the virus, and you jump out of a plane into the mountainside somewhere. It's very vague, and everyone's out there in the snow. Textures are horrific, and once again it plays exactly the same as the first game. That's not always a good thing, and I always held these games in very high regard. And once again, I did not do full playthroughs of these. I did years ago, and I'm not doing that again now. I just wanted to capture enough footage to talk about the franchise, the first 3 games on PlayStation 1, because once again it's one of those game series where everyone's like, oh, they were really good games. They may have been, they are however not anymore. And of course that brings me over to Syphon Filter 3, released in 2001, and basically it's a bit more, it's trying to be a bit more James Bond, starting off in a tuxedo, going into a hotel, picking up your gear from a bathtub, and then sniping some people in the opposite building. And I will be perfectly honest, I didn't get past this first level on this bit because I kept getting killed, essentially, because there are far too many enemies to be able to kill, and the controls are so clunky. It was just ruining my life. But after playing quite a bit of Syphon Filter 1, a little bit of Syphon Filter 2, and literally that up to that annoying part on Syphon Filter 3, I'd have to say that these games have not aged well, and I can see why they have been lost in time. Now, interestingly enough, they were published by 989 Studios and then and developed by Ben Studios, which is pretty cool. Of course, Ben Studios are the ones that did Days Gone, and Days Gone is a phenomenal game. And I can quite honestly see why Syphon Filter died off. After the 2001 Syphon Filter 3, Syphon Filter The Omega Strain did not release on PlayStation 2 until 2004. And then 2 years later, Syphon Filter Dark Mirror came out on PSP, and then a year after that, Logan's Shadow came out. So, and then it died there with those 6 games. And I can see why. For the time, they had very, very positive scores. Like Syphon Filter 1 has a 90 out of 100 on Metacritic, and I don't know why. I do think a lot of nostalgia takes precedence over a lot of practical reasons why these games are really good or really not good. I have a little bit of nostalgia for them, but playing them now as a 36-year-old, they are just they are. They're not great, unfortunately. The level design is not too good, and it's just very confusing to navigate. But that being said, I'm sure there are Syphon Filter fans out there in the world, but I can honestly say that this one, this specific franchise, I think, does still belong and should remain in the past, because even if it was HD'd up, they'd have to do some serious rejigging on the controls and camera and etc. In order for me to play it again, especially. But please let me know in the comments down below if you've ever played Syphon Filter, or if this is a game from your childhood and you absolutely love it. Once again, if you really love this franchise, that is cool. Please let me know why in the comments down below. I'm not judging you or saying you are wrong. It's just definitely not a game that I probably ever return to. But please let me know in the comments down below what you think, and thank you very much for watching.